This video, we're actually going to start our Java series. So if you want to learn how to program in Java, you can stick with us. We're going to be adding a lot of videos, or I'm going to be adding a lot of videos over the course of the summer, because I will be teaching AP Computer Science, and these videos will be to help my students, but that doesn't mean they can't help you either. The IDE that we're going to be using is going to be BlueJ, and the reason that I chose BlueJ and the reason a lot of AP Computer Science teachers use BlueJ is because it can boot up relatively quickly. It's easy to design in, and it doesn't have an autocomplete feature. And when you're learning to program, relying on the autocomplete can really not have you fully understand what's going on when you rely on that autocomplete. So we're going to use BlueJ. If you have Eclipse or NetBeans, you can use that too. That's fine. It's all going to do the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Project. We're going to do New Project, and we're going to do Hello Computer Science. That's what we're going to call it. Very similar to the Hello World, but we just want to call it something a little different. So then you're going to see BlueJ Hello Computer Science. And when you're using Java, it requires a class. Every program requires a class. So we're going to do new class, and we got to give it a name, and we're just going to call it hello. We'll just call it hello. And then that class pops up. Now we need to edit it. So let's go ahead and double click. Now, when you double click, you're going to see a lot of stuff come in, and you may not know what any of this does. What we're going to do is we're going to get rid of a lot of this. Let's go ahead and delete this documentation here, and let's delete everything down here. So we're left with just public class hello. Now, when your program starts, it needs to look for a method that is the main method. When your program starts, it's going to be looking for that. If you don't have that, it will not start at all. If you've followed any of our other videos, in VB.NET, for example, you have submain. That is what the program is looking for. In Java, what it's looking for is what's called the main method. And we don't call these procedures because it's object-oriented programming, so we call them methods. So we need to create our main method by creating a method header. So what we're going to do is we're going to do public static void main. We're going to open up our parentheses. We're going to do string, and then we're going to have args. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open some brackets, close our parentheses, open the curly bracket, and boom, we have created our main method. Now, if you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what we just did, that's okay. We'll be explaining a lot of this as we go along. So this is what we call our method header. This is our main method. This is what the program is going to be looking for when it starts up. And then all the code that we have in here will then execute. These curly brackets that you see here, this is what we call the body of the method. This is where all the code goes. Our method is called main. And void just means that it's not returning anything. It's not a function. That's all that means. So it's inside of our class. Let's get started. So all we're going to do is simply output a line of code or output a line that says hello computer science. To do that, you're going to do system.out. And remember, we said this doesn't have an autocomplete, and so you can really understand what you're doing. And then we're going to do print ln, which stands for print line. We're going to open our parentheses, close our parentheses, and put a semicolon. Now we can put something in here. Let's talk about what this is doing. We're using the system. This must be a capital S. If it is not, it's going to return an error. Right now I don't have an error. If I use a lowercase s, it's going to say, okay, I don't know what this is. Package system does not exist. Java is case sensitive, so you cannot just type everything lowercase and expect it to fix it for you. So if you're getting an error, make sure you have a capital S. What we're going to do here is we're simply going to open our quotations, and inside our quotation marks, we're going to write hello computer science. And we're going to put an exclamation mark. And with that, we're done. Our first program, simply outputting something to the user, hello computer science. So in this, we learned a couple things. We learned that every program must have a class. We called our class hello. We can call it whatever we want. We learned how to create a main method header, and you must have a method called main so it knows where to start. We also learned about the curly brackets. where the code goes inside the body of the method. And obviously the class has all the methods or functions inside of it. And we close that with a curly bracket. Also, don't forget the semicolon. So what we need to do now is we need to run this. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on compile. And it says down here, class compiled, no syntax errors. Perfect. What we can do is we can close this. We can see that it has compiled because we don't have the slashes going all the way across. What we're going to do is we want to run this. We got to see if it works. We're going to right click and you're going to see all these options. Well, remember, we called ours void, the method main, and it's the reason it's void is because it doesn't return something. I'm simply going to click on this, which will launch it. You'll see this, it says hello main. Yes, that's what we want to do. We hit OK, and then we look right here inside of our console window. It says hello computer science, and with that, our first program is done. So when we're going through, and you can just double click, which will bring you back to the code. When you're going through with us, it's not just about copying what we have down and just, copying the code. That is not going to allow you to learn anything. Coding is all about problem solving and understanding. So make sure as you go along, think about everything that we just did. We learned how to create a main method. We learned how to output something to the user. We learned that when you do that, it has to end with a semicolon. When you're creating your main method, you have to have the curly brackets and it has to go inside of a class. So that's it for this video. Please join us as we post more this week.